Hey everyone, Jason Kress for UNB Sports Information. Today I'm at the Richard J. Curry Center and I'm joined with Don Nelson. Don, it's a pleasure meeting you again, and thank you for meeting me for this interview today.
Thank you, Jason. It's a pleasure to be here and this beautiful facility.
Don, what drew you to UNB as a place of employment?
Well, I was, after graduating from Springfield College in Massachusetts, I got my first job in Trois-Rivières, Quebec as a physical education teacher. And of course, you always have ambitions to improve yourself. And after 4 years at Three Rivers High School, that it was known as in Trois-Rivières, I had the opportunity to go to Chambly County High School as the head football coach. And I felt that that was a progression that I was comfortable with, stepping up in the profession as a coach and a physical education teacher. In the meantime, Springfield College got a hold of me by phone and said there's an opening at the University of New Brunswick. They're looking for a football, basketball coach, and we think you should apply. So I immediately called Mr. Peter Kelly, who was the athletics director at that time, and found out that in fact there was a position open and that he was accepting applications. So I made the application, had an interview, and got the job. So that brought me here. It brought me back to the Maritimes because I was born in St. John, New Brunswick, and it was great to get back.
What did you do while you were here at UNB?
Well, my first assignment was as a head football coach and head basketball coach, and that was it. And it became a full-time position. There was no physical education program here at the time. Well, then that was in 1956. Which I think is 56 years ago, so time has certainly flown by. In 1957, Dr. Colin B. Mackay, who was our president, hired Dr. John Mahar to establish a program for men and women in physical education. He was alone, and I was the only other college graduate. I had a BSc in physical education. So he asked me to lend some assistance in some of the skills courses and in whatever way I could with I believe there were 8 students in the initial class. So that became a professional situation for me, of which I was very glad to be a part of as time went on.
What were some big changes that you were the backbone behind?
Well, Jason, I think first of all, the 2 sports that I coached, one for 11 years, the football program, which had a part-time coach up until the time that I arrived as a full-time coach. And I really feel that there was some distinct progress made in the 11 years that I was the head man in that particular program. We went from a very small community football program with St. John. We played the city team. We played Moncton. We played St. Thomas, a small college at that time up in the Miramichi. So we had a very light schedule, and the program hadn't really established itself. And over the 11 years, I felt that program had taken on a distinct picture where it became a major program, not only in the Maritimes, because we had won 2 maritime championships, intercollegiate championships, during my tenure. So I really felt that program had developed. The basketball, to me, was a well-established program, and I hope I continued to develop it along the way. My philosophy in basketball was that program should provide an opportunity for New Brunswick students. And I think in the 32 years that I coached, the majority of my players were New Brunswickers. I didn't perhaps do that purposely. It just happened that I was more interested in the New Brunswick high school player than I was the Ontario high school player, or certainly the American high school player, although I've had both. But in terms of a contribution, I tried to focus on my basketball program being available for students from New Brunswick.
In 1971, you established the first summer camps here at UNB, and volleyball and basketball were run. What was the inspiration behind this?
Well, I think I would go back to my sabbatical leave that I had from the university in 1970, where I went to Ohio University. Not Ohio State, Ohio University. I want to make that distinction because I'm very proud of the Bobcats at Ohio University. It was at that time, a university of 17,000 students. So it was a pretty good sized institution. And I had the opportunity, Coach Jim Snyder offered me an opportunity to be an assistant coach in the varsity program. And I enjoyed that experience. And while I was studying athletic administration as a student, as a graduate student, the opportunity to coach with their program and also to work for a short period of time with their summer program for high school students in the Ohio area, mainly in the southern Ohio area. So while working that summer with Coach Snyder and the rest of his assistants, I thought, wow, maybe that's something we should get involved with here at the University of New Brunswick. So on my return in 1971, I started the initiative of asking for young high school students. In fact, I think 12 years of age was our youngest at that time, so we were into middle school students as well.
How are you still involved with the university?
Well, Jason, certainly as a spectator of most of the sports, I try to, at my age now, it's a little more difficult for me to get to the outdoor sports on the cold fall days and so on. But basketball is still a major interest of mine. I contribute to it with a scholarship, and I'm a very interested spectator. I try to get to all the games. I'm also interested in watching as many UNB activities as I can. I find that during the winter season, I pretty well have to, or have limited my spectator association with basketball, both men's and women's. A few years ago, 2006, I believe, I became an honorary member of the UNB Alumni Association. And I was very proud of that opportunity. And so I try to involve myself by taking part in whatever activities the Alumni Association sponsors. They have one major banquet a year in which people are given awards that are not only regular alumni graduates, but also the honorary alumni, of which I am, in the class of, this is hard to believe, 2006. But I'm very proud of that factor. And then being an original member, along with Dr. Mahar, of the Faculty of Physical Education here at UNB, which has developed over the years to become the Faculty of Kinesiology. I'm very interested in the progress of that faculty. And Dean Albert, I think, has just made a major contribution, he and his faculty, in that program. They have over 500 undergraduate students. I believe it's close to 100 graduate students. And they also have a handful of doctoral students. And that's just amazing how that initial program in physical education, how it has developed to be a major program here at our institution as a kinesiology faculty. And I'm proud each year to be asked to present an award, the Pete Kelly Amby-Legier Award, on behalf of that faculty to one of their top students. And as I say, I'm very proud of that fact. And those are really the three circumstances by which I'm involved with athletics and academics here at the university.
What is your connection with the current men's basketball coach, Brent Baker?
Well, I have to go back 2 decades anyway, I suppose, when Brent was a young Nova Scotia high school basketball player, and I got a call from his coach, who was a physical education graduate. And he said, Don, I've got this young man here at Brookfield High School, I think it was. I'm not sure just exactly the name of the high school. And his name is Brent Baker, and he is a heck of a player, and I think he's very interested in the forestry profession. And of course, where else would you go at that time but UNB or out to the University of British Columbia? So if he was interested in forestry, I thought I had him. So to make sure, my wife and I took the ferry from St. John and crossed over to Digby and found Brent Baker and his coach at this high school in that area of Nova Scotia. And I presented what I felt was our side of the story, and he seemed to be interested. And I went back and checked his name off. Back in those days, we weren't calling our recruits every day as they do now. Once you felt you had a young man, you let him make the final decision. And Brent did make his final decision. He went to St. Yvette's. Much to our chagrin, because he was one of St. Yvette's top players. When we played St. Yvette's, we were reasonably competitive with them, but I felt that Brent made a heck of a difference in that team in the 4 years of competition that he was involved with. So that was my initial contact with Brent Baker. Kind of a sad one for me, not landing him as a player, but at the same time respecting his abilities. The next time I ran into him was in a restaurant in Aulac, New Brunswick, right on the border of Nova Scotia, and he had his high school team there. And I was on my way either playing Mount A or over to PEI at the University of Prince Edward Island for games with my team, and we both had our teams there. And I didn't notice him. He came over to me and said, Coach, Brent Baker. And we had a great talk and a great discussion. So that was my second contact. Now let me come to about 4 years ago, when I heard that there was a young man that had made application for our basketball coach, and it was Brent Baker. And I thought, boy, if we can, I just thought to myself, I didn't have the opportunity to present my feelings to anybody, but certainly to myself and to my friend, that this young man would make a great candidate as a coach at UNB, because I knew the kind of a person he was as a player. And I think that has certainly proved itself in the 4 years that he's had this club, and The style and type of basketball that's being played here is exceptional. The game has changed tremendously over the years, and I think we're very fortunate to have Coach Baker here, and I think he's doing an excellent job.
Final question, Don. You have 2 awards that bear your name. One is the Don Nelson Merit Award, and the second is the Don Nelson Leadership Award. What does that mean to you?
Well, Jason, it means a lot to me, and that's a simple answer. I think the reason it does mean a lot to me is to have my name associated with a scholarship here at UNB. That's kind of a personal pride. But deeper than that, I think the fact that it was my players that had the initial idea of establishing a scholarship in my name. I was tremendously proud, and I don't consider myself a proud person, but in this instance, I was extremely proud of the fact that a group of my players had gotten together and decided that a scholarship should be established in my name. And of course, that meant contacts, getting money from ex-players, anyone that was interested in the basketball program, anyone that was personally interested in me as a person or a coach. So I really give full credit to that, to the players and the individuals that established those 2 scholarships. And I'm quite proud of the fact that they have my name attached to them.
Don, it was a pleasure meeting you today, and thank you for taking the time for this interview.
Well, thank you, Jason. It's been a pleasure for me after the number of years that I've been associated with UNB to go back in time and think about some of the great things that I've been involved with and that the university has meant to me. It is a great institution, and I'm very proud of the fact that I have spent my life around it. Thank you so much for the opportunity to say the things that I've said.
For UNB Sports Information, I'm Jason Kress. Thanks for watching.